The following clip centers on a family who, at one point, casually decided to play with a Ouija board, not expecting anything beyond a harmless experience, but ever since that moment, their home has slowly turned into a place filled with disturbances they can no longer ignore. What started as occasional unease has grown into a pattern of activity that affects their daily lives, with objects moving on their own, doors banging without anyone near them, and their children waking up from intense nightmares that they struggle to explain. One evening, while the family was gathered together in the dining area, something happened that stood out even among everything they had already experienced. Watch.
What the fuck? Leave us alone! Leave us alone. We're not scared of you anymore. Leave us alone. Just sit back down. Just sit back down. I'm not waking up the babysitter. This is crazy. Leave us alone. Look us. Okay. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Come here. Oh, come over here.
It begins with the door, moving on its own in a way that immediately shifts the atmosphere in the room, but what follows makes the moment even harder to dismiss, as one of the chairs is suddenly pulled without anyone touching it, the movement sharp and deliberate rather than accidental. But there are details that make this far more unsettling when you look closely. The cross in the room, something meant to symbolize protection, is seen turned upside down, a position often associated in many beliefs with defiance or corruption rather than safety. And then there is the baby swing, which had been completely still moments before, suddenly beginning to move fast, like something was pushing it. So is this simply the aftermath of something they unknowingly invited into their home? Or is it something that has been in the house waiting for the perfect time? You decide. Now in this next video, a man decides to walk into a restroom on his university campus that most students deliberately avoid, not because of anything visibly wrong with it, but because of the stories that have circulated over time. Stories about doors slamming on their own, footsteps echoing when no one is inside, and the uncomfortable feeling of being watched even when every stall appears empty. Some students have claimed they heard whispers while washing their hands. Others say they saw stall doors slightly ajar only to find nothing behind them, and a few have gone as far as refusing to step in there alone after certain hours of the day. Despite all of that, he chooses to check it out for himself, possibly out of curiosity, or maybe to prove that the rumors are exaggerated. Watch.
Universidad. El pedo ahorita es que acabo de terminar de hacer el baño. Y pues estaba todo normal. Pero ahorita están ruidos raros. Y se está tocando la puerta, pero quiero que vean que pues no hay nada. Vean, ahí está mi reflejo, pero vean de este lado, pues aquí no hay nada. Acá tampoco, vean. Aquí tampoco hay nada. Aquí pues tampoco, vean. Y acá el lugar es bastante pequeño y está mi reflejo. Pero hoy, ¿escucharon? ¿Escucharon? No hay nada.
What makes this moment so unsettling is not just the sound itself, but the fact that he had already checked the area and there was no one there. And yet, something moved. Some believe this could be residual energy, the idea that certain places hold onto past actions, replaying them without awareness, like an echo trapped in time. And when a place already carries stories like this, they feel like confirmation of something that's been there longer than anyone realizes. Until more students come forward to share what they've experienced inside that restroom, this one remains unsolved. The following video is about a man named Israel who had just moved into a new neighborhood, still unfamiliar with the area and without any real connections around him, when he began experiencing something that quickly turned his quiet nights into a routine of unease. Almost every night without fail, he would wake up to the sound of his doorbell ringing. Not once, not randomly, but consistently enough that it started to feel like a pattern, almost like something was intentionally drawing his attention to the door. At first, he tried to explain it away, thinking it might be a neighbor playing some kind of prank, especially since he was new and didn't yet know anyone nearby. But as the nights continued and the timing remained the same, the situation became harder to dismiss. Eventually, he decided that the next time it happened, he would confront whoever was responsible. So one night when the doorbell rang again, he got up and went straight to the door. Watch.
Who is it? Who is it?
For someone who has never dealt with anything paranormal before, there is no reason he would have thought twice about opening that door, especially when logic tells you it's just another person on the other side. But in many accounts and warnings tied to unexplained encounters, there is one rule that comes up repeatedly, a rule people often learn only after something has already gone wrong. The moment he opens it, he doesn't find a person standing there. Instead, he feels something pass by him, a sudden shift in the air, like someone brushing past his body at speed, even though there is no one visible. It's a feeling that's hard to mistake, the kind that immediately tells you something is not right. And what happens next only reinforces that fear, because it no longer feels like something was outside trying to get in. It feels like something used that moment to come inside. So whether you believe in the paranormal or not, there's a warning that continues to surface in stories like this, one that people often ignore until it's too late. If you hear something at your door and you've noticed a pattern, do not open it. This next video captures what a family has been dealing with for quite some time, a situation that has become so frequent that even their closest friends have started to notice a pattern, especially when they call and almost always find them in the middle of rearranging or cleaning some part of the house. What seems like a simple habit at first quickly becomes something harder to explain, because according to the family, the constant cleaning isn't by choice. It's a response to something that keeps disrupting their space. They've tried to explain it, telling people that there is something in the house, something that moves things around, creates a mess, and refuses to stay confined to one area. But, as expected, convincing non-believers has been nearly impossible, and their experiences are often brushed off as exaggeration or stress. Eventually, they decided to install cameras, not just to document what was happening, but to finally show others that this wasn't something they were imagining. Have a look. this activity doesn't stay in one room or one corner of the house. It happens everywhere, in the kitchen, in storage areas, across different spaces, almost as if whatever is behind it isn't confined, but free to move through the entire home without restriction. Some believe this kind of activity points to a poltergeist, a force known for physical disturbances, often linked to energy within the home. But others argue that the consistency, the spread, and the almost disruptive nature of the activity suggests something more terrifying. But you be the judge. In this clip, a man named Omar is trying to make sense of a situation that has slowly been unfolding inside his home, one that didn't begin with anything dramatic, but instead built up through small, unsettling moments that became harder to ignore over time. For the past few weeks, his nephew had been staying over for the holidays, and at first everything seemed normal, until Omar began noticing strange patterns that didn't quite add up. There were moments where he would hear the child talking to someone in another room, full conversations happening when no one else was there. Toys would be moved from where they were left, sometimes appearing in places neither of them remembered putting them. At first, he tried to dismiss it as a child's imagination, the kind of harmless behavior kids sometimes display when they're bored or playing alone. But one night, around 3 a.m., something happened that made it impossible to brush off. He woke up to the sound of his nephew's voice, clear enough to tell he was awake, speaking as if he was interacting with someone. Confused and concerned, Omar got up to check on him. Watch.
Son las 3 de la mañana, escuché cuando el niño, no sé con quién está jugando. ¿Con quién estás jugando? Con mi amigo Jatama. Ah, no mames, güey. No mames.
What he finds raises a question that's hard to answer, because at that hour, in that setting, who exactly would the child be playing with? There's no one else in the house, no visitors, no explanation that fits what he's seeing and hearing. Trying to find a logical answer, Omar contacts the child's parents, asking if his nephew had ever mentioned having an imaginary friend or shown similar behavior at home. Their answer was immediate and certain. No. Nothing like this had ever happened before, so if the behavior isn't coming from the child's past, then it may be coming from the environment he's in now. Now, Omar is left with a question that carries real weight. Not just how to stop what's happening inside his home, but how to make sure that whatever is interacting with his nephew doesn't follow him back to his parents. So, what's your advice? Now, this next clip follows a man who had just moved into a new apartment, expecting a fresh start, but within a short time began experiencing things that made the space feel anything but normal, starting with subtle disturbances like faint knocking sounds at night, objects not being where he left them, and the uncomfortable sense that he wasn't alone even when the apartment was completely empty. At first, he tried to ignore it, convincing himself it was just the unfamiliarity of a new place. But the activity didn't fade. It grew more noticeable, more physical, and harder to explain. There were moments where he would hear movement in other parts of the apartment while sitting still, and times when he would wake up feeling like something had been in the room with him. One night, he decided to record, hoping to finally understand what was going on. Watch. What the footage shows is difficult to dismiss. A dresser begins to shift on its own, moving with enough force to rule out something minor like vibration or imbalance, and at the same time, the mattress shows clear impressions, as though something unseen is stepping onto it, pressing down in a way that suggests weight, presence, and movement. At that point, it already feels like more than just unexplained noise, but the following day, what he captures changes the situation entirely. Watch. This time, it's not movement, it's sound. Something in the apartment appears to be trying to communicate, producing a voice or series of sounds that don't match anything visible in the room. He eventually sent the footage to his workplace, and whatever he showed them was enough for them to take it seriously. But even after he left the apartment, he still finds himself wondering what exactly was trying to reach him, and what would have happened if he stayed long enough to understand it. The following video was recorded by a CCTV camera, and according to the family involved, it finally confirms what they had been suspecting for a long time, that the strange things happening inside their home were not random and definitely not imagined. Take a look at what they found.
स्लो गरे है मैले फेरि धेरै स्लो हुन्छ भनेर छोडिदिनु इन्डिकेटर मात्रै गरे गम्बुट लाछ है कपालले जिग्रिनु कपाल जिग्रिनु रहेछ ओ ओ कपाल उड्यो यो मान्छे जे कपाल उड्यो छाया छाया जस्तो छ हैन गम्बुटबाट माथि क्लियर देखिदैन नि के कपाल उड्दै गएको छ गम्बुट उडिरहेछ हैन फेरि यो गर्दा कपाल उडेको जस्तो हुन्छ क्या अब त्यो क्लियर गर्दा अरु केटाहरु आउँछ सर्लकै देख्छ फेरि त्यसलाई नि हेरौँ न त कपाल उडेको देखिँदा छ साँच्चै.
The footage appears to show a figure moving, and according to the family, this lines up directly with everything they had been experiencing: the footsteps, the movement, the feeling that someone was walking through the house when no one else should be there. What makes the video even more intriguing is the detail viewers quickly pointed out. The figure appears to be wearing a boot. That small detail sparked a wave of speculation. Some people believe that apparitions often appear in the last form they were seen in while alive, carrying over details like clothing or physical traits as part of their identity. Others think spirits manifest in forms that are familiar to them, almost like a residual imprint of how they once existed. There are also those who argue that what we see isn't a spirit, because spirits don't wear boots. I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. The following video is about Nate, someone many viewers already recognize for the strange and often unsettling activity that seems to follow him wherever he goes. Over time, people began pointing something out to him, that he might be giving whatever it is too much attention, and that constantly reacting to it could actually be making things worse. So he decided to try something different. He started ignoring it. No reactions, no engagement, just going about his day like nothing was there. But that didn't last long, because one morning, this happened. Watch.
Alright. So you people tell me to ignore things, so... Tell me what the fuck that is. I have... things going on in here and in the bathroom right above me, or some upstairs above me at the same time. But, you know, I'll just ignore it. And it's not as simple as people think. Unless people experience these things, then it's not as easy as just ignoring it when this shit happens to you. I'm working on it.
Once again, you can hear faint whispers in the background, unclear but definitely there. And what makes this moment even more unsettling is that just seconds before he started recording, the cabinet where the cup falls from was completely closed. Moments like this are why many believe that attention plays a role in these situations. Some say that reacting to activity can strengthen whatever is causing it, almost like feeding it energy, but others argue the opposite, that ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just makes it find other, more aggressive ways to be noticed. And for Nate, it doesn't stop at home, because as much as he deals with this inside his house, his workplace isn't any different. Watch this.
All right. Good morning, ghosts. Happy Friday to you guys, too. Well, I don't really see anything out of place or kind of... Everything looks... Oh. I could feel that. I could feel that. Did I offend you by saying good morning? That's different. All right, I take back the good morning then. Oh, okay. We're gonna do this now. All right. I take back good morning then. Jesus Christ. Well, now the knocking on the walls has started once again. Just figure out, turn the camera on and see if I can catch it, because I mean it was every wall. Like, and it's inside because when it did it on this wall, this and the chains were slightly swaying. So that tells me I wish I can understand what whatever this is wanted.
At the cemetery where he works, something can be heard bang against the walls of the garage over and over again. Not random noises, but heavy, deliberate impacts, like something trying to get his attention from the other side. Some believe this could be tied to the environment itself. Cemeteries are often associated with residual energy, places where emotions, grief, and history linger. Others think it could be something more direct, something that may have attached itself to Nate, following him between locations. And then there's one of the strangest things he's come across at work. Watch.
We have this morning. Just one. No other ones. Just one single claw print or weird handprint. Fingers are super long. They look a little sharp on the edge, like small scratches underneath. And there is it's almost like it was jumping up there, but I don't see anything.
On the floor, there's a deep claw-like marks, just one, as if something appeared, dragged across the surface once, and vanished. Some viewers even claim to hear whispers toward the end of the clip, though no one could clearly make out what was being said. So what could leave a mark like that? This one remains unsolved. In this next video, a father shares an experience that completely changed the way he sees his own home. For some time, there had been small things he couldn't fully explain, moments where he thought he heard movement late at night, or faint sounds coming from parts of the house that should have been empty. Nothing too obvious, just enough to make him uneasy, but not enough to convince himself something was wrong, until one night, he suddenly woke up to the sound of his son crying, not a soft whimper, but the kind of crying that makes you get up immediately. Without thinking twice, he rushed out of his room to check on him, but something didn't feel right, so he decided to check the camera. Watch closely.
No. Good. No.
You can hear it clearly, a child crying, but then something else happens. A figure moves past, and for a brief moment, it looks like the shape of a child. Yet, something about it feels off. The movement isn't natural, the timing doesn't match the crying, and the presence itself feels separate from the sound. And this is where things start to get really disturbing. Because when he finally checked on his son was fine. Not crying, not awake, just sleeping. Which raises a terrifying possibility. Some viewers believe this could be a case of something imitating familiar sounds to draw attention, possibly to lure someone out of their room. It's a theory often mentioned in cases where voices or cries are heard, but don't match any real person in the house. Others think it could be a shadow figure manifesting briefly, using sound and movement together to make its presence known. But whatever it was, It knew exactly what would get his attention. So if that wasn't his son crying, then what was it? I'll let you be the judge. Now, in this next clip, Isaac, the man living in that old property with 2 haunted sheds, a place already known for strange activity that seems to grow worse over time, shares an update on his current situation. On this particular day, Isaac was doing a live stream, going about things normally, when a strange sound suddenly caught his attention. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to make him stop mid-sentence and go check it out. Watch this.
Y'all heard it too? Y'all heard it too? Because I know I heard something. I know I'm not going crazy. I'm standing right here with y'all. I'm standing right here with y'all. My hands. My hands. I'm standing right here with y'all. Just burn the whole house at this point. I can't, they ain't got nowhere to live. Fuck. Oh. Ah. Ooh. Ow. Oh. Hit my leg. I hit my knee so bad. Oh my God, that hurt. Oh.
Isaac had previously explained that this room used to belong to the grandfather who owned the land, and according to family members, he always preferred warm temperatures. It was something very specific about him, something only people close to him would know. And just to rule out any easy explanations, Isaac made it clear during the live stream that the other remote was in the living room, and the remotes don't control each other. Something he had tested before when he once misplaced one of them. So if no one was in the room and no remote was being used, then what turned it on? Some viewers believe this could be the grandfather's presence, something familiar, almost routine, repeating what he used to do when he was alive. But others aren't so convinced because what happens next changes the tone completely. Tired of everything happening around him, Isaac eventually decided to bless the house, and for a few days, things were quiet. Almost too quiet until this happened. Watch.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Like I said, I've left the living room and I've officially moved into the bedroom now. And it's... What the hell? Well, well, I was gonna say, that it's been pretty calm all day. Somebody did ask me if they blessed the sheds, and the answer is no. They actually didn't. For some reason, my landlord was pretty adamant about leaving the sheds alone. We did the furthest one where the memorial is, but the one near the house and the one with the car in it, she was absolutely adamant that that would not be blessed, that would not be touched, and so we didn't touch it. I didn't ask any questions. Her reaction wasn't like mean or anything. She was just like, yeah, I don't like that's not a good idea. Almost kind of like, nah, just leave it alone type of thing. So, I mean, other than that, it's been a really good day. It's been a really damn good day, to be perfectly honest with you. Why are my windows so foggy? Look at this. Look how foggy my windows are. Look, these two. Can you even see it? I don't even know if you can see it. It's like mad condensation. Why is there so much condensation on my flipping window? I didn't run. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, to be perfectly honest with you, but guess I'll go ahead and finish getting ready for work. Watching Wicked while I get dressed. Alright, talk to y'all later.
A door suddenly closes on its own, the light shuts off, and for those listening closely with headphones, some claim they can hear a faint voice saying, "Go away." And that's what really unsettled people, because if that voice is real, then whatever is there doesn't just exist, it has intent. Some viewers believe this might be a reaction to the blessing itself. There's a theory that if a space is only partially cleansed, whatever is there can simply move to the uncleansed areas. And in Isaac's case, that would be the sheds. And there's another layer to this. Isaac mentioned he wasn't allowed to cleanse the sheds, which raises a disturbing possibility. If something is tied to those sheds, and you cleanse only the house, then you're not removing it, you're cornering it. And according to many who study these cases, that can make whatever's there more aggressive. So now the question is, was that the grandfather making his presence known? Or was it something else entirely? Something that doesn't want Isaac on that property anymore? You decide. In the following video, a man named Moses and his family were on their way home one evening when his daughter insisted they stop by a small playground near their house. It was a simple request, just a few minutes to play before heading in. Reluctantly, he agreed. The kid played, laughed, and enjoyed the quiet moment. But as time passed, something about the place began to feel off. The kind of uneasiness you can't explain, like being watched without seeing anyone. Then, just as they were about to leave, Moses saw it clearly. Someone was there, hiding. He turned his camera toward a nearby tree and started calling out, asking whoever was there to show themselves. And then, it did. Watch.
No te vas a golpear la resbaladilla cuando te bajes.
¿Me bajo?
Sí.
Ah.
¡Ey, Nana! Mira, mira. Nana, ven. Venga, mira, cheque, a ver, miren el árbol aquel. No, la neta, te lo juro que yo miraba algo, como que se asomaba. A ver, venga.
Ya me dio miedo.
No, es que yo miré algo, neta. No pasa nada. No, mi amor, no pasa nada, ven. No era nada, ven. ¿Qué?
¿Qué es?
No sé, no, bueno. Irga, sí se miró. ¡Hey! ¿Quién está ahí? Yo sí miré, alcancé a ver algo. Mira, ¿te checaste? ¿Viste? A ver. Oh, mira.
¿Qué es eso? Ay, no.
¡Hey! ¡Lujo! ¡Asómate!
Something peeks from behind the tree, not once, but twice, just enough to confirm that they weren't alone. At that moment, the family didn't wait to find out more. They quickly left, trying to brush it off with nervous laughter as they walked away. But after posting the video, the comments made things worse. People began sharing their own experiences about that same playground, especially after sunset. Some claimed they had seen figures standing near the trees, watching silently until noticed. Others described hearing footsteps behind them with no one there, or catching glimpses of something ducking out of sight the moment they turned to look. A few even said the place feels completely normal during the day, but changes the moment it starts getting dark, as if something else uses that space when no one is supposed to be there. So what was hiding behind that tree? For now, this one remains a mystery. In this next video, Chris and his wife are trying to finally settle an argument that's been going on for a long time. Both of them have been experiencing strange things in their home, but they don't agree on what's causing it. Chris leans toward logical explanations. Faulty wiring, loose fixtures, anything that can be explained. His wife, on the other hand, believes there's something else in the house, something they can't see but can definitely feel. So to settle it once and for all, they installed cameras everywhere. One night, while they were asleep, the cameras caught this. Watch. The stove turns on by itself, as if someone physically turned it on. Up until this point, many viewers believed the activity in their home might be tied to something harmless, possibly even a child's spirit, especially based on earlier clips where objects were lightly moved or knocked over. But after seeing this, people started to think differently, because this isn't just movement, this is dangerous, something that could have easily caused a fire. And that's why some believe this might not be something playful or harmless anymore, but something more aggressive, something with intent. And for a while, all the activity seemed to center around one place, the kitchen. Take a look at this. This doesn't look like it slipped, looks like something deliberately pushed it. According to Chris, this has become part of their daily routine. They go to bed with everything in place and wake up to the kitchen in complete disarray, cabinets disturbed, items out of place, forcing them to clean up every single morning. At this point, it's no longer about whether something is happening. It's about what is doing it and why the kitchen. What do you think? The following video was shared by a woman who's genuinely searching for answers, hoping that someone out there might recognize the signs of what she's dealing with. For a while now, she's noticed a very specific and unsettling pattern involving her dog. Almost every single day, around the same time, her 6-month-old puppy suddenly starts barking intensely at one exact direction in the house. Not just casual barking, but focused, alert, almost defensive barking. What makes this strange is that about 5 minutes later, he suddenly stops, goes completely quiet, and then immediately looks around for her as if checking whether she noticed it too. This routine has repeated itself night after night, always the same direction, always the same behavior. One evening, she was sitting calmly when her dog climbed onto her lap, chewing on a bone, relaxed and content. Suddenly, this happened. Some believe he could be reacting to subtle sounds we can't hear, like changes in air pressure, pipes, or even wildlife outside the walls. But others weren't convinced, especially because of how consistent the timing is and how focused his attention seems to be. As for solutions, viewers offered a wide range of ideas. Some advised checking the space thoroughly for logical explanations, vents, rodents, or structural noises, just to rule them out. A few suggested cleansing the space, whether spiritually or simply by changing the energy in the room, while many stressed one thing above all else: pay attention to the dog. Because whatever he's reacting to it every night, at the same time, in the same place. And until she figures out why, this situation remains deeply unsettling and very much unexplained. This next clip was recorded inside Selma Mansion in Norristown, Pennsylvania, a location that many locals already avoid after dark. The mansion has long been surrounded by rumors, stories of former residents who never really left, reports of unexplained footsteps echoing through empty hallways, doors slamming on their own, and voices heard coming from rooms no one has entered in years. Some say the upper floors are the worst, especially the 3rd floor, where people claim the air suddenly feels heavier and breathing becomes difficult for no reason. On March 29, 2025, a group of urban explorers decided to investigate the mansion for themselves. Despite knowing its reputation, they went in prepared, setting up multiple cameras throughout the house before settling in for the night. While placing equipment in other areas of the mansion, a loud bang suddenly echoed through the building, sharp enough to stop everyone in their tracks. When they checked the footage, they realized the sound came from the bathroom on the 3rd floor, where one of the cameras had been left running. Watch closely. Skeptics argued it could be old pipes, structural shifts, or even wind, but that explanation doesn't easily account for the voice, the pacing of the footsteps, or the very human-sounding breath caught on audio. And considering this happened on the 3rd floor, an area already known for activity, many believe the explorers may have wandered into a space where whatever lingers there doesn't like being watched. So, was this just the mansion settling? Or did Selma Mansion make it very clear that they weren't alone that night? You decide. In this next video, a man believes he's being tormented by something far more sinister than a simple haunting, something he's convinced is a demon living inside his home. And honestly, after seeing everything he's documented, it's hard not to understand why he feels that way. For months now, he says he'll leave the house for work or errands, only to return and find it completely trashed. Tables flipped upside down, chairs thrown across rooms, kitchen equipment scattered across the floor as if someone deliberately went through the house in a rage. One night, while recording a video to explain what he's been experiencing, things suddenly escalated. Watch this.
Guys, so it's been very horrible. I have been experiencing some non-stop shit. You gotta be kidding me. What the shit? What the is that sound? What the I know they not just move. I know that they not just move, y'all. Shit! Oh shit! In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I ask every demon to leave my house immediately. Immediately. I want every demon to leave this house immediately. Immediately. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Leave my house now. The was that? I swear to God, and guys, this is crazy. Swear to God. What the shit! Holy shit! Oh shit! Holy shit! Holy I'm getting the out of here. No shit!
This isn't subtle movement or quiet noises in the background. When something moves, it moves hard. If it rocks a chair, it does so violently. If it rattles a door, it slams and shakes it with force. Viewers quickly began weighing in with their theories. Some believe this could be a case of a highly aggressive poltergeist feeding off fear and emotional stress. Others argue that the destructive nature, the escalation, and the way the activity responds directly to him speaking points to something darker, possibly a demonic attachment rather than a spirit tied to the house itself. As for solutions, people urged him to stop engaging altogether, to avoid provoking whatever it is. Some warned that labeling it a demon could make things worse, but others believe he may already be past that point. So what do you think? Is this truly a demon, or is there another explanation behind the violence in his home? Now, doll collectors are often misunderstood. To most people, collecting dolls sounds harmless, nostalgic, even comforting. But what many don't realize is that some collectors actively seek out dolls with history. Dolls that were loved intensely, abandoned suddenly, passed through multiple owners, or tied to trauma. In this clip, a woman who openly documents her collection of dolls with deep and unsettling backstories shares what happened after acquiring a particularly infamous one. The doll is known as Raggedy Ann Janet, located in the UK and already surrounded by disturbing rumors long before she ever laid eyes on it. Previous owners had reportedly complained about unexplained noises, objects shifting, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched, especially at night. Despite the warnings, she felt drawn to Janet and eventually brought the doll into her home. Almost immediately, she began noticing classic poltergeist-style activity. Objects would move without explanation. Doors creaked open on their own, and the most unsettling part, these events didn't feel random. They felt deliberate, as if something was testing boundaries, pushing limits, and making its presence known. Despite knowing all these, she wanted to confirm.
So Janet's been with us for a few days. Bobby's dropped her off. A few things have been moving around this room lately. Janet, is it you that's doing it? Oh my god, thank you.
For her, the signs were enough. Janet wasn't just another piece in her collection. Something about this doll felt active, aware, and intrusive. And now the question remains, is Janet simply an object carrying residual energy from past owners? Or did bringing her home invite something that was never meant to follow? Either way, the activity surrounding this doll has left viewers deeply unsettled. And until more updates are shared, this case continues to raise an uncomfortable question about how much of the past we unknowingly invite into our homes. This next video is an update from the same man who previously shared how everything in his apartment changed the moment he brought a set of old toys home. Watch closely.
Se sigue escuchando, la verdad ya no soporto estar aquí. Ya no aguanto. ¿Qué será? No hay nada, raza. Esto ya se está saliendo de control, raza. Ya no puedo estar aquí, raza.
As he moves through the apartment trying to locate the source of the noise, a figure is briefly caught on camera. Even though something in him feels like the toys are connected, he wants clearer proof, something undeniable. But viewers say the signs have been there all along. For example, take a look at one of the nights he couldn't sleep at all.
Raza, son las 3 de la mañana, se siguen escuchando muchos ruidos allá afuera. Quieren abrir la puerta, raza. ¿Qué está pasando? Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío, líbrame del mal. Desde que compré ese espejo, raza. Ay.
What worries him the most is that whatever's in his apartment doesn't seem anchored to a single location. It chooses different areas, almost like it's rotating spots. One night, it was his bedroom. Watch.
Se escucha que están rasguñando abajo de la cama. No hay nadie, raza, la madre. ¿Qué rollo? ¿Qué está pasando?
Something was scratching under his bed, and while some suggested the mirror near his bed could be acting as a trigger, that theory started to fall apart after this next clip surfaced.
Quieren prender la luz, raza. Esto está saliendo de control, raza. No se escucha que le pegan al tanque allá afuera. Esto se está saliendo mucho de control, raza. No sé qué está pasando, la verdad, raza. Pero a ese tanque le pegan. Ya es el segundo día desde que están pasando estas cosas y alguien que me pueda ayudar, déjenme en los comentarios, por favor. Gente, esto ya se salió de control, gente. Ya no puedo más aquí, gente. Ayuda. ¿Qué quieres? Déjenme en paz. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Quién eres? ¿Quién eres? ¿Qué quieres?
At this point, the activity is no longer subtle. The voice he hears at night is clearer and deeply unsettling. He's reached the point where he locks himself in one part of the apartment at night, afraid of what he might encounter if he walks into another room. And what makes this even more disturbing is the pattern. Whatever's in the apartment seems to choose where it stays. For days it stayed in the kitchen, then it shifted to the laundry room. Now it appears to have claimed the bathroom.
Están tocando la puerta del baño. Desde que compré este espejo están pasando todas las cosas. Mamá.
He's asking for help, desperately, but most viewers are saying the answer is already right in front of him. Get rid of the dolls. But is it really that simple? Are the dolls the source? Or are they just vessels for something that was already looking for a way in? In this next clip, a woman named Haley set out on what was supposed to be a calm, grounding escape into the Appalachian wilderness, a place known for its beauty, isolation, and deeply rooted folklore. But not long into her walk, something felt off.
I just realized this is like the perfect place to come and sit and smoke. Cause look at this. Sit right here. Hell yeah. This is my view. Y'all. A cigarette right now. I don't even smoke cigarettes. But it warm you up, you know? I'm cold. I felt like there's somebody behind me, but cool. So this is as close as I'm going to get, but y'all can see it's like angled and it goes into the mountain. It doesn't look like it, but it's a little bit more deeper here. My feet would get wet, and these shoes, yeah, no, and it's cold. But yeah, I'm about to head out of here because my feelings been, I don't know, it don't feel right now. But yeah, I don't have service. No, this is the worst part about exploring here is when you get like that when you get the feeling that you're being watched or followed. You can't, it's a little bit of a ways to get back to where you came from. Over there.
If you listen carefully, a voice can be heard quietly saying, "Hey." What makes this moment especially unsettling is that the voice sounds disturbingly similar to Haley's own. At the time she was recording, she didn't hear it at all. Instead, what she felt was something harder to ignore, a sudden sensation that someone was standing directly behind her. In paranormal folklore, especially in Appalachian legends, encounters like this are often linked to something known as a mimic, entities said to imitate human voices to lure people into responding. That's why many believe the worst thing you can do in situations like this is acknowledge the voice, especially out loud. Responding is believed to give whatever's their permission, or at the very least confirmation that you heard it. Some say mimics rely on familiarity, using your own voice or the voice of someone you trust to lower your guard. Others believe they test boundaries first, watching how you react before escalating, and then there are those who think these encounters aren't meant to chase you, but to mark you. So was this just an audio coincidence paired with anxiety in an isolated place? Or did Haley narrowly avoid something far more disturbing by trusting her instincts and leaving when she did? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. The following video is about a lady named Savannah, who's now in serious need of help, because it's starting to look like she's living through a real-life paranormal phenomenon. For months, she's been dealing with things she can't explain. Footsteps pacing around her room late at night, objects disappearing and reappearing in different places, her closet door cracking open on its own, and the overwhelming sensation that someone is standing right beside her whenever she tries to fall asleep. But things escalated the night she swore she felt something sit on her chest while she slept. And what truly pushed her to her breaking point was when she heard something in the darkness, mimicking her voice, calling her cat. She screamed, thinking she was losing her mind. Then she eventually set up cameras. What you're about to see is a compilation from different nights, everything her camera captured. Watch.
What?
Some nights, small objects would shift and slide across the room as if nudged by invisible hands. Other nights, something would crawl underneath her blanket, pressing against her legs as she slept. There were moments where her cat would freeze, stare at the corner of the room, and suddenly jump as if something tried to pick it up. And on the worst nights, she'd wake up feeling a tight pressure around her foot, like something was slowly trying to pull her off the bed. She's already blessed her room, she's placed crosses around her apartment, she's tried cleansing, prayers, everything. But whatever is there doesn't seem to care. Now she's asking for help, because at this point, she's genuinely afraid of what might happen next. If you have any suggestions, now's the time to share. Who knows, your comment might be the solution she's been searching for. In this next clip, a paranormal investigator decided to explore an old crematorium, and after what he experienced there, he says he won't be going back anytime soon. Watch this.
This is crazy.
Crematoriums already have a chilling history. These are places where countless families said their final goodbyes. Places where bodies are prepared, tagged, and stored before the final process. And in older crematoriums, especially those that have been shut down for years, many say the air never really loses that heaviness, as if the walls themselves remember everything they've seen. Some former workers claim that late at night, before closure, they'd hear metal trays shifting on their own, or doors to the furnace room slamming despite no draft. Others swear that once a body is cremated, the spirit doesn't always follow immediately. Sometimes it lingers, confused, or attached to the place where its physical form spent its final moments. Strange noises in an abandoned building are one thing, but inside a crematorium, with that history, this is the kind of place you enter once, and then decide it's better not to return. Now, in this next video, a mother named Christy has been dealing with something that's starting to unsettle her in ways she can't explain. For days now, she's noticed a strange pattern. She'll be talking to her little boy, something simple, everyday conversations, and suddenly he'll stop mid-sentence, freeze, and stare off toward a very specific part of the house. No blinking, no reacting. almost like he's watching something move that she can't see. At first, she brushed it off as childish distraction, saying kids zone out all the time. But it kept happening, and each time, his eyes went to the same direction. One evening, while she was prepping dinner, he did it again, only this time, he wouldn't stop pointing toward the dining room, repeating the same thing over and over with a strange calmness that made her skin crawl. Watch this.
Where's the ghost?
Look at it.
What do you see?
I see something in a tiny room.
What is
I
it?
see something in a tiny room.
Where is it?
Perhaps. You're too.
I don't see it.
I'm opening it. It's perhaps. See, look. I'm opening it. Hey, open this one. You is one.
What?
You is one.
There's what?
There is.
What'd you see?
Next to my eye.
What?
Next to my side. To my side on the hat. To my side on the hat.
It's okay.
I see a vacuum folding on a. I see a vacuum folding a hat.
You see what?
A vacuum folding a hat.
Imagine your own child saying something like that, with that kind of certainty. Christy finally took him to the dining room to figure out exactly where this thing was supposed to be. It turned out to be a picture hanging on the wall. But here's the part that's confusing her the most. That picture has been there for months. He's walked past it hundreds of times, eaten dinner right across from it, played near it. And it has never bothered him, so why now? Some people think kids are naturally more sensitive, and maybe he's suddenly picking up on something attached to the photo, an energy, a memory, or a presence that wasn't active before. Whatever the case is, something about that picture has clearly changed. And until she gets more answers, this one remains unsolved. The following video was captured outside an Argentinian hospital. A man had just finished visiting someone and was heading back to his car when he suddenly heard a loud bang. Thinking maybe someone needed help or that something had fallen, he walked toward the sound. But when he got there, the place was completely empty, so he headed back to his car. And that's when he noticed this. Watch.
Estamos en este momento en el microhospital, escuchamos un golpe y nos dimos vuelta porque dijimos, bueno, ¿quién está entrando? Cuestión de que no hay nadie atrás nuestro. Y miramos dentro del auto y dijimos, oh, pues el auto... ¿Qué mierda es? Lo peor de todo es que no queremos salir. Un miedo, la puta madre. Lo peor de todo es que se mueve adentro del auto y no hay nadie. O sea, ahora vamos a ir a controlar el auto. Pero parece como si fuese un reflejo. La puta madre. No, huevo. Ya, salimos rápido para que vean que no es mentira. Mamá, la piel de gallina, hermano. Piel de gallina. Cagazo. Nadie. Nadie. Un montón. Es un montón. Mierda. Y encima nos mira, la puta que te parió. No, chavo. No. Desapareció. La concha.
The moment he saw what was sitting in the back seat, you can tell his entire body reacted. When he lifted his arm to the camera, you could literally count each hair standing straight up. That's not something you fake, that's a full body fear response. But what really got people talking were the details, especially the movement of the face. Whatever was in that car wasn't a reflection, and it definitely wasn't a person hiding inside, because he didn't even take the camera off the car until he reached for the door. And when the head suddenly ducked behind the driver's seat, yeah, reflections don't do that. Now, here's where this gets even more unsettling. This didn't happen in just any location. It happened right outside a hospital, a place where people pass on, where emotions run heavy, where many believe spirits linger the longest before moving on. So the real question is, what exactly entered that car? And why did it wait until he was alone? This one remains a mystery. Now, in this next clip, a lady's dog has been acting out ever since she got a new truck. At first, she thought it was nothing. Maybe he just wasn't familiar with the sound or smell. But the more she paid attention, the more unsettling things became. Have a look.
What is it? What is it? But there's nothing over here.
After watching this clip, some people said it could be the tires. Maybe the rubber was warm, maybe the scent was strange to him. But then a different wave of comments rolled in, questions that made the whole situation feel a lot darker. People started asking whether the truck was actually new, if she knew anything about the previous owners, or if the truck had ever been involved in an accident, because dogs don't usually whine like that unless they're reacting to something they don't understand, or something we can't see. She eventually came forward with an update that surprised everyone. The truck is brand new and she's already checked underneath, inside, and around the engine for any animals or signs of something stuck. Yet, Titus still behaves like this.
What's that?
She also revealed that ever since she brought the truck home, Titus has never agreed to get inside, not even once, and honestly, the comments weren't helping either. People began warning her that dogs can sense what humans can't, and that her dog might be reacting to a dangerous spirit attached to the vehicle. Some even went as far as saying that if she doesn't get it blessed, she could end up in an accident. One morning, Titus wanted to check the garage again, barking and whining in a way she'd never seen before, so she followed him, camera in hand, and here's what she caught. At this point, she has no idea what she's dealing with anymore. And honestly, none of the explanations so far feel comforting. So what do you think? Is Titus reacting to the smell of the tires? Is there a spirit attached to the truck? Or is there something else we're missing? Something that ties all these events together? Now, this next video captures something most people fear more than any regular haunting: a mimic. Mimics are the type of entities people describe as intelligent, calculating, and frighteningly good at imitating the voices of people you know and trust, usually to lure you closer or get you to respond. One afternoon, a lady was home completely alone when she suddenly heard this coming from inside her house. Watch.
Are you there, honey? Open the door for mommy. Bella. Hello. Bella.
The moment people heard that voice, the comment section exploded. Not because of the sound itself, but because of the way she reacted. She didn't panic, she didn't call out, she didn't ask who's there. She stayed absolutely silent. And for good reason. Because when it comes to mimics, the #1 rule everyone repeats is, do not respond. Responding means you're already playing its game. So the fact that she stayed completely quiet is what everyone agrees might have kept this from going much further. Now, in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his exploration at Bonanzaville, an open-air museum made up of old, fully preserved historic buildings from different eras of North Dakota. In the last video we posted, Ian entered the Telephone Museum, but this time he went to the Brass Rail Saloon in the Page Hotel, said to be one of the most active buildings on the entire property. Built in 1889, this place used to be a bustling stop for travelers. Food, liquor, music, rooms upstairs, the whole deal. But today, it's known for something else entirely. Voices that shouldn't exist, footsteps pacing empty rooms, and unexplained noises that seem to follow anyone who dares explore the second floor alone. Watch this.
Could you do that again? If there's anyone in here, I invite you to come sit with me. I just want to get to know some of the people that are here. I hear that there's a lot of spirits in this building. Could you walk up to this table and sit down with me? I mean, I didn't bring any cards or anything, but I mean, if you've got some, I don't know if you can in the afterlife, but feel free to sit on this table here. Whoa. I just heard that chair move. Holy moly.
Unfortunately, he had his infrared light pointing directly at the camera, making the chair in front of him impossible to see. But the moment he stepped out of that room, something else happened.
Is there anybody in here? Whoa. That came from in there. I think I might have heard somebody in here. Is there anyone in here? Whoa! Oh my God! It's okay. It's okay. I'm not gonna run. Did you just tap on that bed? Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. That scared the living daylights out of me. Holy moly. Dude, that was a freaking voice. I heard it so clear on this voice recorder. Oh, it was a female. It was a female voice.
Ian was almost convinced there had to be someone else inside the building with him, but the footage says it all. He was completely alone. So the question is, who or what answered Ian that night? And why is her voice still echoing through a building that hasn't hosted a living guest in over a century? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was captured by a woman named Rosanna. who reached a point where she simply couldn't take what was happening in her apartment anymore. For weeks, she had been living in a space that no longer felt like her own, a place where normal routines were constantly interrupted by things she couldn't explain or control. It started gradually, with objects moving on their own, small enough at first to question, but frequent enough to become impossible to ignore. Then it escalated into something far more personal, moments where she felt something touch her when no one was there, followed by fleeting figures appearing in the corners of her room, never fully visible, but always there long enough to be noticed, and then gone. Eventually, it became too much, so she left. Rosanna moved into an Airbnb, putting as much distance as she could between herself and whatever she believed was in that apartment, hoping that a new environment would finally bring her some peace. And for about a month, it did. Until one night, around 3 a.m., she suddenly wakes up to something that immediately breaks that sense of calm. The sound of singing coming from inside her bathroom. Listen closely. As she approaches and opens the bathroom door, the camera captures something chilling, a black shadow standing inside the shower, and as she put on the light, it disappeared as if it was never there to begin with. But that's not the only detail that makes this harder to explain. The shower door was already open, and the handle was on the floor, suggesting that someone or something was there. At that point, any hope that she had left it all behind is gone. Rosanna is now convinced that whatever was in her old apartment didn't stay there. It followed her, and that idea has led to a wave of theories. Some believe this could be a case of an attachment, where a presence connects itself not to a location, but to a person, meaning distance doesn't matter, moving doesn't help, and no matter where she goes, it goes too. Others think it may have been unintentionally invited, that during those earlier experiences, through fear, attention, or even acknowledgement, she may have given whatever it is a reason to remain connected to her. Now, Rosanna is left with questions she can't answer on her own. What is she going to do? In this next video, a man who has been dealing with relentless disturbances in his home finally reaches a breaking point. After nights filled with interrupted sleep, unexplained noises, and the constant feeling that he is not alone, even when every room appears empty. At first, like many people would, he tried to ignore it, hoping it would pass, but as the activity became more frequent and more aggressive, he began searching for answers, speaking to others, researching, and eventually being told something that would change how he approached the situation entirely. According to what he later shared, he came to believe that the presence in his home was the restless soul of an extremely old man, someone who had once lived there and, for reasons unknown, never truly left. A presence he claimed was around 192 years old, bound to the space in a way that rituals alone couldn't seem to break. So, one night, after being woken up yet again by the familiar sound of things scattering around the house, he decided to take a different approach. Confrontation. Watch.
Y 25 de la mañana, gente, allá está el reloj y le voy a mostrar cómo un alma que no puede irse a descansar en paz molesta. ¿Ven la sombra? Miren la sombra ahí. Miren la sombra ahí cómo está sentada. A las almas les gusta la tranquilidad, ¿no es cierto? O sea, ellas pueden espantar, pero nosotros no a ellas. Entonces nosotros tenemos que filmarle lo más tranquilo que podamos. ¡Dale! ¡Arriba la mano! ¿Qué está haciendo? Miren, se prendió la luz. No esté espiando. Miren. Salí. A ver cuánto es lo que vale. Un mano a mano contra vos no aguanta nadie, un mano a mano contra mí, digo. Dejá de hacerte la ridícula. Tenés como 192 años y seguís asustando a la gente. ¿Por qué no te vas a sentarte en la vereda afuera? Agarrá un peine por lo menos. ¿No te das cuenta que en la sombra se te vio y tenía todos los pelos parados? ¡Ridícula!
It's around 3 a.m., and before he even enters the room, he notices something that immediately puts viewers on edge: a shadow. When he stepped in and tried to turn on the light, it didn't come on. Instead, there was a strange light already present in the room, and then things started flying about before the light finally came on. But at that time, whatever was in the room had gone. Now, what has really sparked conversation around this clip isn't just the activity itself, but the decision he took. Some people believe that standing your ground in situations like this shows strength, that it can disrupt whatever is trying to create fear, possibly even weaken its hold. Others strongly disagree, arguing that confronting something you don't fully understand could actually make things worse, especially if what you're dealing with is aware, reactive, and capable of escalating its behavior. Now, this leaves a question that doesn't have a simple answer. When you're dealing with something you can't see, something you can't fully understand, is it a good idea to confront it? You decide. Now, this next clip is about a man named Nate, someone whose situation has been getting progressively more intense ever since he unknowingly brought something home from the cemetery where he works. Something that, at first, didn't seem like much, but over the past few weeks has turned his house into a place he no longer feels safe in. Nate began noticing that sharp objects, particularly knives, would go missing, only to be found in places he never left them, sometimes positioned in ways that felt deliberate, almost like they were being placed rather than dropped. One morning, he finally managed to catch it on camera. Have a look.
Alright guys, so I was just upstairs changing and I heard a loud ass crash down here. The dog ran down. She was in the kitchen getting water and she booked into here from the kitchen, so guessing it. I just felt the breath on me. So I'm guessing it came from the kitchen. I don't see anything. Back door's locked. Let's see. No. 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 What is the... What is that in? Oh, that's stock in there. Holy sh...
What makes this even more unsettling is what happens as he tries to approach it. If you listen closely, there's a whisper. Some viewers are convinced they hear the words, "I'm gonna get ya," while others aren't entirely sure, but agree that whatever is being said doesn't sound friendly. At that point, concern around his situation grows, and many people begin advising him to try something different, something often suggested in cases like this: the ignoring method. He was told to give whatever it is as little attention as possible in the hope that it loses interest or weakens over time. So Nate tries it, and later, while explaining how it's been going, this happens.
So, I have been doing my best. I have been taking a conscious effort to ignore things when they start happening around the house. I will admit it's hard when they're happening like right in front of me, you know, 5 feet away from me. I do take a second to just try to catch myself before I react. I have been working with not trying to engage with it, not talking to whatever it is. When things happen, I have, like I said, been taking a conscious effort to avoid it and just ignore it. Like some of you know, I have twins coming in September, so my main goal is to clear whatever energy or whatever it is in the house. I want it, doing my best to clear it out, because I want to bring my twins home into a safe, loving environment where they don't have to worry about stuff like that. So any suggestions on what I can do to rid my house of this activity would be greatly appreciated. So if we can how do you ignore that? How do you ignore that?
Another knife, this time standing upright, stuck straight into the middle of the floor in a way that defies normal explanation. And if that wasn't enough, there was something else. A light orb moving across the floor, almost as if it's circling the same area, lingering around the object as if it's connected to it. This raises a disturbing thought, that whatever is in that house isn't just throwing things, it's showing itself in pieces. Because if something is willing to manipulate sharp objects like that, if it's capable of whispering threats, then ignoring it might not be enough. Aware, reactive, and capable of escalating its behavior. Now, this leaves a question that doesn't have a simple answer. When you're dealing with something you can't see, something you can't fully understand, is it a good idea to confront it? You decide. The following video was recorded during a school field trip to the mountains, and while the exact source of the clip remains unknown, it's widely believed that whoever captured it was either a student or a teacher accompanying the group on this trip, documenting what should have been a completely normal and uneventful journey. Everything about the setting feels routine: a bus filled with students, the quiet hum of the road, and the kind of casual distractions you'd expect, with people either talking among themselves or staring out at the mountain scenery passing by. Nothing about the moment suggests that anything unusual is about to happen, but as it turns out, something else may have been there with them, or at the very least, very close. What makes this clip especially unsettling is the fact that no one on the bus seems to notice anything at all, not during the moment, not while it's happening, which means whatever appears goes completely unseen until the footage is reviewed later. See if you can catch it.
Levanten las manos. ¿Qué mano me voy a poner? Sí. No, si acabo de mano.
At first glance, everything seems normal, and technically it is, because nothing unusual appears inside the bus. But that's not where you should be looking. The key detail is the dash cam feed displayed on the TV inside the bus, which shows the road ahead in real time. And that's where it happens. For a brief moment, something passes in front of the bus. A figure, but not one that looks right. The movement is the first thing that stands out, because instead of walking naturally, it seems to stagger across the bridge, almost like it's limping or struggling to maintain balance. Its motion uneven and unnatural in a way that immediately feels off. Then, there's the appearance. What looks like a pair of moving legs is clearly visible, but the rest of the body isn't. If something like that can be right in front of people and still go completely unseen, then how often does something like this happen without anyone ever knowing? Now in this next clip, Dustin, the same man who had previously shared strange occurrences tied to his workplace, including unexplained noises and moments where he felt like he wasn't entirely alone even during quiet hours, experiences something that takes things to a completely different level. On this particular day, he's at work, going about things as usual, when he suddenly hears screaming coming from the bar area, sharp enough to immediately get his attention and pull him out of whatever he was doing. Have a look. At first, nothing seems out of place, but if you take a closer look at the mirror behind the bar, you'll notice something that doesn't quite line up. A figure passes by, and not just any figure, it looks exactly like him. The unsettling part is the timing. The reflection moves before Dustin himself actually does. Some people believe this could be a classic case of what's often referred to as a doppelganger phenomenon, where an entity takes on the exact appearance of a person, mimicking their form so perfectly that the only way to notice something is wrong is through subtle inconsistencies like timing, movement, or behavior. But, like always, you be the judge. In this next clip, a paranormal investigator sets out to explore an abandoned house, the kind of place where time seems to have stopped and every corner feels like it's holding on to a story that was never fully told, hoping to document small details, fragments that might explain what once happened there and why it was left behind in such a state. At first, everything follows the usual pattern of an exploration, scanning rooms and taking in the silence, but the moment he crosses into a certain part of the house, the atmosphere shifts in a way that feels immediate and hard to ignore, almost as if his presence alone has triggered something. Watch.
Oh, il y a un bruit. Quelqu'un?
Abusé. Oh la dinguerie. C'est qui là-bas? Y'a quelqu'un? Bon, allez, je vais dire ça comme ça. Si c'est un démon, fais-moi bouger autre chose. Ah, mais c'est obligé, il y a quelqu'un là-bas. Il y a quelqu'un qui se cache ici? Quelqu'un qui se cache ici, c'est obligé. Je suis entouré par un démon? Edgar? Edgar?
As soon as he enters that room, there's sudden movement, and his first instinct is to assume it's his friend Edgar playing a prank to get a reaction out of him. But when he moves closer to where the movement came from, there's no one there. Trying to understand what just happened, he calls out for Edgar, searching through the structure, moving deeper into parts of the building that look even more unstable and forgotten, until he reaches another section that raises even more questions. Watch.
Quelqu'un? Qu'est-ce que c'est ça?
C'est un truc de fou, gros.
S'il y a une entité ici avec moi, fais-moi bouger autre chose, s'il te plaît.
Fais attention avec, fais gaffe.
Abusé. La dinguerie. Pour te rassurer, je suis là en paix. Et je suis en retour. Si c'est un démon, pour confirmer si c'est toi. Pose-moi un objet.
Ouais, je pense que c'est un démon.
Confirme-moi que c'est toi. La dinguerie. Hallucinant.
This part of the house is in complete disarray, not in the slow, natural way you'd expect from decay over time, but in a way that suggests force, as if things have been knocked over, thrown, and scattered deliberately, leaving behind a scene that feels less like abandonment and more like the aftermath of something disruptive. And standing there, taking it all in, he can't help but wonder if the spirit is responsible for all this, and if the owners of the house left for that same reason. Like many of these cases, there's no clear answer, so I'll leave you to be the judge. The following video was recorded around 3 a.m. by a guy who struggles to sleep at night, so he usually keeps himself busy until the exhaustion finally kicks in. On this particular night, he was watching TV like he always does, but when he stood up to head to bed, he suddenly felt something. Watch this.
What's up? What the f? Did you hear that jingle then? You hear that jingle? That definitely moved. What the f is going on in this house? And my cat as well just keeps doing this. My cat just keeps walking around meowing, which is also freaking me out. So weird. So weird. Are you here to hurt me? Are you here to do me harm? Are you friendly? Whoa, what the Nah. Nah, off. No way. What the No, man. No way that just moved. Loki? Loki? You need to get out of my house, whatever you are, whoever you are, you need to leave. You need to leave right now. I don't know what's going on.
The moment viewers saw the African mask hanging on his wall, the comments section exploded. People wanted to know where he got it, how long he'd had it, and whether its presence lined up with the strange activity he'd been experiencing. And the more he talked, the more everything started to make sense. He revealed that he's owned the mask for a year, but it had only been inside his home for a couple of months. And ever since then, he'd been hearing noises while lying in bed. Light taps, distant footsteps, soft shuffling in the hallway. At first, he ignored it, but now it's escalating. Another morning, around 4 a.m., wide awake again and unable to shake the uneasiness, he finally decided to make a video for everyone begging to see the mask up close. Watch.
Anyone's got any opinions on this after they've seen it up close? What kind of mask it is? How old it might be? No expert. But what the Well, that's not freaky, is it? Jesus Christ. For fuck's sake. I'm tripping over stuff now. Hello? Hello? Nell! Everyone's been saying, why have you got the lights off all the time? The landing light does not work, right? There's no bulb in this light. Because usually, I ain't shit scared of going upstairs. But I'm doing this because I just want to try and prove to you all there's nobody in the house but me and whatever the this is. With me. Oh! Oh my god! Oh, fucking hell. There was a figure in the window. There was a silhouette in the window. There was a silhouette in the window. Oh my god. Oh my god. Why are you doing this? Huh?
After that clip surfaced, his viewers began sharing their own experiences with similar African masks. Some claimed the masks brought them sudden waves of bad luck until they removed them from their homes. Others said their once quiet house became strangely active and unsettling the moment the mask was hung up. Many urged him to get rid of it before whatever was attached to it got comfortable. And here's where things get even more intriguing. In many African cultures, traditional masks aren't just decorations. They're spiritual artifacts. Some are used in ceremonies to honor ancestors, summon spirits, or protect the tribe. But others serve as conduits, symbols meant to channel ancient energies, often tied to rituals outsiders may not fully understand. If a mask like this was once used in a ritual or belonged to a lineage of spiritual significance, it could carry an imprint, a presence. So the real question is, does he just have an artifact on his wall, or did he unknowingly bring something ancient into his home? In this next clip, two friends were on their way home after a party. They were still laughing, still hyped, and decided to record a quick video to send to the friends who couldn't make it, just to show them how the night went and how chaotic the party had been. But while filming that harmless update, they ended up capturing something entirely different. Have a look.
Got my son in the back seat. Shut your You ain't getting no ice cream. Why do you scream like that? No. Hello? Hello? I don't like that. Did that with her? Grab the phone. What the heck? Did we just catch a paranormal Grab the phone. I'm not doing this no more. Grab the phone. I'm trying. Don't leave me. What do you do? I'm supposed to go out and fall on my face. No, I'm not. No! No, do not. Hey, door. Is it still recording? Yes! Oh my god, it's me.
Now, here's where things get strange. The exact moment they screamed, the car's light suddenly went off. But could there be a normal explanation? Some people think so. They argue that loud vibrations inside a car can loosen wiring or cause an already faulty light to flicker. Maybe the timing was just a strange coincidence, but others aren't buying it. They point out that the light didn't dim. It cut out instantly, like something interfered with the energy around them. Some are convinced they might have stirred up something they couldn't see, something that reacted the moment their voices spiked. So did their screaming disrupt the car light, or did they unknowingly catch a paranormal moment on camera? You decide. Now in this next video, a woman named Jennifer Ricks stumbled upon an old clip her daughter recorded about a year ago. Before finding this video, Jennifer had already been dealing with strange things around the house. Moments where she'd be sitting completely still, home alone, and a dark shadow would walk past the hallway like it had somewhere to be. Her dog, normally calm, also barks at odd hours of the night, sometimes staring into corners as if watching something move, but she never connected any of it. Not until she saw this clip. According to her daughter, the moment she was filming, it felt like someone was trying to take a peek at her from behind the door. That quiet, unsettling sensation of being watched, the same feeling Jennifer herself had dismissed for months. And when you put this clip side by side with all the strange things that have been happening in the house, it's hard not to understand why Jennifer now believes something is truly off. But the real fear isn't what they've already seen, it's what might come next. If this presence has been around for over a year without them realizing it, what else has it been doing that they haven't noticed yet? Until more updates come in, this one remains completely unsolved. The following footage was taken by a man's home camera, and what he later saw still stuns him to this day. Have a look.
You want to see something weird? I have the blink camera and the poltergeist attic. Now I know that nobody is home. I check back on the footage and I see a light turn off downstairs. But there's nobody home. Nobody home. Nobody home. Very weird, but a very, very good capture. Check this out. I mean, people could be like, oh, well, there was somebody down there, and I wouldn't post something like that, right? This is crazy.
The craziest part of this footage is that you can clearly hear the sound of the light switch being flipped. That sharp, unmistakable click that only happens when someone physically touches it. Your first thought might be an intruder, right? Someone wandering through the house without his knowledge. But that theory falls apart quickly when you know the other things he's shared. Objects in his house have moved suddenly without explanation. A few times, items have even fallen on him, as if pushed, and more than once, he's caught faint laughter echoing from this exact same room. Soft, almost playful, but definitely not human. Viewers who analyzed his older clips pointed out something else. Strange-looking dolls and toys scattered around the room, some with faces that look unsettlingly worn or distorted. He's never addressed their origin, but people can't help but wonder if one of them is tied to whatever's going on. So when you take everything together, the laughter, the objects moving, the eerie toys, and now a light switch flipping on its own, the idea of an intruder becomes the least likely explanation. It feels more like something has made this room its space, something that doesn't mind being heard, and now doesn't mind being seen. But in the end, I'll leave it to you. What do you think he's dealing with? Having a home camera is like having an extra pair of eyes watching the moments you never even knew were happening. And that's exactly what happened in this next clip you're about to see. Watch. The camera suddenly detected movement, followed by loud banging and knocking that seemed to come out of nowhere. The owner of the house said it felt like something was there, something she couldn't see but definitely could hear. That's why she decided to share the footage online, hoping other people might catch something she's been missing. So take another look. What else do you see in this clip? In this next clip, a man and his son went to check on a storage unit where he keeps all his fancy collectibles and strange antiques. But lately he's been convinced something malevolent is inside that unit. Objects shift on their own, and even the employees have reached out to complain about loud crashes and bangs coming from his space. They even invited him over so they could show him the clips themselves, and confirm whether he was anywhere near the facility when those sounds were recorded. But he wasn't. And that only made his suspicions feel a whole lot more real. But the staff didn't believe him at first, so he decided to prove it. He set up cameras inside the unit. Watch.
But just watch the video for yourself.
After he posted this clip, viewers swarmed the comments warning him to never take the cursed monkey doll home. This doll, which cost him nearly $2,000, has a history he didn't know about until it was too late. From the moment he brought it into the unit, the activity escalated. Wherever this doll sits, things fall, objects slide, and even heard from people that once owned something like it, that it might be tied to old ceremonial practices, or that the doll was once used as a vessel in rituals meant to house wandering spirits. Whether any of that is true, well, that's up for debate, but one thing is certain, he's never carrying that doll home. Now, in this next video, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his exploration inside one of Nebraska's most notoriously haunted places, the Argo Hotel. If you've been following his investigations, you already know this place has a reputation for strange activity, and Ian has captured plenty of it on camera. But on this night, after wrapping up his walkthrough, he realized there was one room he hadn't checked. Watch.
Those are some freaky dolls. Did you just make that noise? It definitely came from over here. Little girl, if that was you, would you be able to... Oh God! Alright, that's it. That's it. That doll just turned and looked at me, and I am done. Get me out of here. Alright guys, I know I ran, but damn, that was freaky. I don't know, I just couldn't handle it down there anymore. There's just a whole nother feeling, especially when you're all by yourself. Oh man, that was so freaking crazy. I can't believe that doll just turned and looked at me like that. It looked like it was possessed. Like it literally, like I was worried I was gonna get possessed or something. Like, oh my gosh, dude, that was so freaking scary. Holy moly. But anyways, I'm gonna leave cameras down there for the rest of the night. I think I'm gonna call it a night. I'm about at my limit for now. But this is a fantastic location. I absolutely love this place. This was such a fun investigation. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know what else to say.
yeah, be sure to like it. Again, comment your thoughts down below, and also subscribe if you haven't already. But I'll see you guys on the next one.
The doll suddenly turns, slowly, directly toward him, almost like it's aware of him, like it's responding. And in that moment, Ian is done. Completely done with this place. He leaves immediately. No hesitation, no second guesses. But the question is, how did it move? The most well-known spirit in the Argo Hotel is a woman named Alice, believed to haunt the basement. According to local stories, she passed away in childbirth in the 1940s, and people say she still wanders the halls searching for her lost baby. Some think she attaches herself to children's toys. Others believe dolls act as vessels that make it easier for her to communicate. Whatever the case may be, the Argo Hotel continues to leave investigators with more questions than answers, and to this day, the mystery remains. The following clip was recorded by Kyle, and if you've been following this channel for a while, then you already know he's no stranger to strange activity. Over the past few years, Kyle has dealt with more than his fair share of unexplained moments inside his home. But this year started off unusually quiet. Well, that didn't last. It began with the sound of children giggling, first in the attic, then the basement. Now, whatever is in the house seems to have moved again, this time to the utility room in his garage. Kyle says he's been hearing loud bangs, noticing lights flickering, and every time the noise suddenly stops, he feels compelled to check it out. And this is what he keeps finding. Watch.
What the hell? Oh shit. It's a... That was up there. So was this. What the fuck? I mean, there's no animal in here. I'm scared out of my mind. I was in the kitchen. I just started hearing the craziest commotion out here in the garage, and this is the result. There's no raccoon in here or anything. I mean, there's nothing that could have done this.
Whenever Kyle opens the door, the room is in complete disarray. Items scattered, things knocked over, yet there's no one there. At first, Kyle wondered if it could be an animal, but that theory quickly falls apart. What kind of animal could create that level of mess, reach those heights, and still leave no signs behind? And animals don't usually cause electrical interference, so why was the light flickering? Until Kyle shares more updates about what's happening in his home, and whether the activity spreads even further, this situation remains completely unsolved.